gentlemen, welcome back to Pack Daddy NFL, and I am deeply sorry that I've been gone for so long. I feel like I say that for everything because I got so much going on right now. I just did my Packers podcast for the first time in like 2 weeks, and I just apologize because I haven't been around. But man, I got a million things going on, and I decided to start new things at the worst possible time. I mean, there is so much news coming in every day. I just can't stay on top of it. And the big thing, and it's what I'm going to be using for this mock draft here, is I started a website, NFLBigBoard.com. I've had it for a while. You probably heard me talk about it in another video. You saw the link below. You clicked on it, and there's just nothing there, and you're thinking, what is this idiot doing? I finally got a destiny for it. Real simplistic. It's just, for the most part, when you go there, it's a list of names. It is the best big board anywhere online. I'm telling you that flat out. I know that sounds silly. There's guys who've been doing this forever. Dude, 586 names or something crazy like that. It's a big, giant aggregator. Every single one, you name your favorite guy, your favorite big board, and it's in there. It's mixed up in there. I'm trying to keep it up to date. But anyways, probably the best big board that you're going to be able to find online. That's what I've been working on. Not just that, but as news comes in, I'm trying to keep that updated, build out the profile so you can actually click on the names in that big board, and you get a little snippet of information, right? If news and notes come out about it, I try to get it in there. Then you got their profile, you got some stats, and just general stuff, right? Like just a snapshot. If you want to see a big board, there's your big board. If you want a quick overview, if you're just getting into it, or maybe you're doing fan speak, right? And you're in the third round and or fourth round, you don't really know a lot of these guys, and you got to pick between, there's four guys and you don't really know much about them. You just head over to NFL Big Board, you click on the name, and you're like, oh, okay, that's pretty cool, right? You got Tony Pauline or Roto World or whatever. Whenever these notes come out, you hear it, but it doesn't really stick. That's what you go over there, you click on it, just got a couple tabs, you kind of read through it, like, oh, okay, cool, man, that's what I'm going to pick. He sounds pretty legit. Or there's a note in there like, oh, he said he's a slot guy, and some teams got him graded with a second round grade. Wow, that's a great value for me, man. Know what I'm saying? Anyways, that's my pitch for the website. Be sure to check it out. I admit I got started way too late, and it's keeping me from doing what I need to do. But today, we are going to get started on a 7-round mock draft. Now, there's actually two 7-round mock drafts. One of them isn't done, and it's mine. I'm doing my own full 7-round using my big board, which again is another reason, it's another reason it's a really cool big board, because it's hard to do a 7-round mock draft with Jeremiah's list of 50 dudes, right? If you can't do a 7-round mock draft with over 500 guys, I don't know what your problem is. But I'm working on that. This is with the Facebook group, so I got to do my pitch for that. The Facebook group is where all the guys come together. I love my Facebook group, man. I haven't been there enough either. I even saw somebody commented yesterday, like, is that dude still around? I was like, ah, man, I suck. I suck at everything. Nobody even knows I exist in my own Facebook group. Yes, for those of you that don't know, I'm still there. I'm still reading everything. I'm seeing all you guys are posting. And the other thing too, you get into a lot of Facebook groups and you try to promote yourself, and some people are, they get all huffy about it. I got tons of guys that are starting websites, starting YouTube channels. I love that, man. I get excited about that stuff. Come on in. I don't care. Share it. I'll watch your YouTube videos. I'm just trying to help people out. That's what NFL Big Board is about. That's what the Facebook group is about. You got a question, ask it. We got guys that have all kinds of opinions. It's getting a little hostile. I'm seeing a couple guys going at each other's throats. I was kind of proud of the fact that we didn't have that, but whatever, it happens, right? If you're going to open your mouth and be a jerk, you're going to get smacked down. It happens. Still, I love the Facebook group. Real intelligent dudes in there. And I say dudes, if you want to get offended about that, that's fine. I'm pretty sure we have 0 women in the entire group, and I'm pretty sure there are about half of one female is going to watch this video, so I'm not too upset about that. But anyways, you're pretty much caught up, man. Get in the Facebook group. Link is in the description. Check out NFLBigBoard.com. Any comments that you have about it, hey, this is stupid, you should tweak this. One thing I know that sucks, and I'm trying to work on it, if you click on anything, it opens in a new tab. It's either that or none of them open in a tab because of some weird thing. I'm working on it. It's annoying. Just deal with it. Otherwise, we're going to jump into this 7-round mock draft. Now, this is another one of the perks of being in the Facebook group. We do stuff like this. I handed this off to Keelan. He's my right-hand man with all this so that I have time to do other stuff. Keelan's doing a great job with that. But I just want you to keep that in mind. When I do my stuff, you can call me an idiot. If I'm reading the Facebook group people's stuff, listen to me when I tell you I didn't do this. Nobody listens to. I don't even know why I talk. I should just do one of those stupid videos where I put up graphics like everybody else does. It takes a half a second. I don't have to put any work into it. Just put up a list of names and teams and I'm done. Because nobody seems to listen. I say, hey, Facebook group did this mock draft, and I do it, and they go, you're an idiot. Why did you do that? Whatever, man. So, anyways, this is round one, Facebook group, February. Well, it's 15th now. I don't know when they got done. I'm kind of behind on this, but here we go. With the first overall pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, Andrew and the Cleveland Browns select Saquon Barkley, running back out of Penn State. I'm coming around to that. I used to say, and I've said in previous mock drafts, I don't like that. If you need a quarterback, you got to take the best one. It makes zero sense in my mind to say, whatever, it's just a quarterback. We'll just see what falls to 4. That's stupid, and it's still a little stupid. But if you're 100% sure, which you can't be, by the way, the people saying, well, they'll just go out and pay for a quarterback and then they'll wait and sit at, it's not how it works. Quarterbacks have some say in, I mean, not necessarily in a trade, but Kirk Cousins doesn't have to go to Cleveland, and I don't think he wants to go to Cleveland. It's not just all about the money. Well, they have the most money. Yeah, but then your career is crap. Tom Brady has not lost money because he's taken a pay cut in New England. That dude is set for life because he is a living legend because he has won so many Super Bowls. He is a god from that that whole East Coast, basically, up that little arm there, the area we call New England. The dude is a god. He's going to make so much money if he does talks, if he does commercials. Why? Because he made a good choice to take a pay cut, stay in New England, and win a bunch of Super Bowls. Kirk Cousins goes to Cleveland. He gets his one big contract. He's done with that, and his career is shot. So, anyway, I don't know. Whatever. I'm just saying, let's assume they get a veteran quarterback, and let's assume that they're comfortable with whoever falls to 4, which seems so crazy to say that at quarterback, but let's just say that they're okay with whoever happens to fall to quarterback at 4. Maybe they even trade up. I don't know what's going on here, but fine. Like I said, I'm coming around to it. I'm not quite there yet because it seems so crazy to me to say, Baker or Darnold or Allen, they're all the same. Who cares? We got like a year to work with the guy or 2 years. We'll train him up. We'll see how it goes. It's just crazy to me. But again, I'm coming around to it. And beyond that, it's Saquon frickin' Barkley, right? I'm not a scout. When I watch him, I go, yeah, dude's pretty good. But when I got everybody in the scouting community saying, no, 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 best since Adrian Peterson, especially with this long line of guys that have come out that are awesome. All right, cool. I get it. Got to take best available, Saquon. And by the way, the Browns are basically the Packers now, right? Dorsey is a Ted Thompson guy, and Elliott Wolf is a Thompson guy, and Hightower is a Thompson guy. It's basically, if the Packers were told, you know what, you go over and fix the Browns, you would have the exact situation that you have here. As a Packers fan, I can tell you they do pretty well. Ted Thompson's pretty good, as much as everybody makes fun of him because he looks like he's got mental problems, and he might. But they do a pretty good job, and they do smart things like taking freakish football players like Saquon Barkley and not reaching for a developmental quarterback with the first overall pick. Moving on. With the second pick, we already have our first trade, and let me tell you this, for the second time, this is not my mock draft because I don't like this. And I wasn't in the mock draft. I know sometimes when this stuff happens, the phones start blowing up that this is a terrible thing that took place. But we have a trade, and I'm not going to drag this out too much, but I'm just prefacing this by saying this is not a good trade. And I don't think this is going to happen. And if it does, I don't know. But here we go. The Atlanta Falcons are going to move way up with the Giants, which, first of all, already, just why would a team move up this far? Number one, even for a quarterback, that's a lot. But obviously they don't need a quarterback. And two, why are the Giants sliding way out of this spot? You don't think they don't want to pick at 2? Okay. Secondly, so the Falcons are going to give up Devontae Freeman, which no, never. They're not going to do that. Um, and their spot. Um, and I guess that's it. I guess that's they also pick up 66. So they move up to 3 and they pick up a draft pick for Devontae Freeman, which I don't think so. Whatever, man. So the Falcons pick Minka Fitzpatrick, safety out of Alabama. Nothing about that I like. The Giants would never do that. The Falcons would never do that. They'd never give up Devontae. I don't think Devontae is even worth that much value to move up that far. And to get a safety that some people are saying the dude is way overrated. Derwin is better. Stuff like that. You just don't do that, man. If you're a quarterback needy team and you move up this far and you get a quarterback, there's a tiny piece of me that says maybe, but for the most part, I'm just saying nope. So we're just gonna leave it at that. That's what it is. Don't like it, but I gotta tell you, I went through the little trade thing. People just get nuts, man. I mean, I don't know if people just don't watch the draft or if they just like having fun with it, but they're just trading players like crazy. Like, oh, I'll give you this player for these picks, and it's like, when does that ever happen in the draft? When do you ever see Devontae Freeman get traded to move up from the end of the draft to the beginning? That doesn't happen, and it doesn't happen for a reason. Anyways, with the third overall pick, Justin and the Colts select Bradley Chubb, edge rusher out of NC State. I used to hate this. This is another thing I'm coming around to. Bradley Chubb is very, very, very good, and he's one of the things I'm trying to convince myself that he's not that good. He shouldn't be this high. And I went back and watched him, and then I went back and watched some other guys, some of like the top edge rushers. And in my mind, I'm thinking, all right, let's go see what a real top edge rusher looks like. And I go back and watch Myles Garrett, and I go back and watch all these different guys, and I even went back and watched Jadeveon Clowney, and I'm like, man, Bradley Chubb is better than these guys, man. He is very, very, very good. I like him. I'm still of the opinion the Colts move back, but you know what? You got a guy like Bradley Chubb. As much as you just can't hate him for the pick. I want offensive linemen, but there are other picks in the draft. You can get offensive linemen and protect your quarterback. It is hard in this spot to pass up on an elite edge rush prospect. I'm good with it. With the fourth overall pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the Cleveland Browns select Baker Mayfield, quarterback, Oklahoma. And this is probably where I'm going to sit, where I'm saying the Browns are stupid for just taking whoever, and then they're going to take whoever, and I'm going to say, you know what, that was a pretty good move. Because I don't know what their big board looks like, but either way, they're going to draft a guy, whoever it is, and it's going to be somebody like Baker, and I'm going to say, yeah, that's not bad. Baker's pretty good, man. And we don't know. We'll have to see. None of this stuff matters until these guys take the field. Some of the Browns fans I'm starting to see are really, really high on what's his name, Kaiser. I don't get it. He was pretty much the worst quarterback throughout, and not just. I mean, it's statistical things that you can look at and say that's you being a bad quarterback. It's bad decisions. It's bad throws. It's bad accuracy. It's not all just he doesn't have. A lot of teams don't have wide receivers. A lot of teams don't have offensive line, which he does have. He had one of the better wide receivers. I don't know. I think the excuses are silly. I think Kaiser was terrible. Maybe he can develop into something better, but I don't know how much better you plan on getting. But we'll see. We'll see if Kaiser steps up, if he's the guy. We'll see if they get a veteran that steps in and is the guy for a year, 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe I don't know. I don't know. If that's the case, then it's gonna suck when you have Baker Mayfield just sitting on the bench. Maybe you trade him. I don't know. But I'm getting carried away. With the fifth overall pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, Chris and the Denver Broncos select Sam Darnold, quarterback out of USC. I feel like this is the first time I've seen this pick, and I really like it. I think Darnold is there's been a lot of movement with quarterbacks, right? Josh Rosen's the best, Sam Darnold's the best, all this different stuff. Sam Darnold is kind of back at the top again. I think the Broncos would be pretty happy with Sam Darnold. I think that would be pretty solid. I think the reason I don't see it very much is because you always have either the Jets or somebody trading up into that number 3 spot, and then they steal it away. And yeah, it's a pretty unusual thing to have the first quarterback go at 4, and then you got the Broncos and the Jets pretty much have solid options. So, obviously, most teams are hoping for a quarterback run. The Broncos and Jets are hoping for guys like Minka and Saquon and Chubb and all these guys to go flying off the board. Obviously, the Falcons trading up for Minka Fitzpatrick, which is insane, helped out a lot. As a Packers fan, I'd be sitting there just beating my head into the wall as I watch all these elite players just go flying off the board and no quarterbacks are going. With the sixth overall pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, Drayton and the Jets select Josh Rosen, quarterback out of UCLA, whatever that school is. Another pick that you just got to love. As a Jets fan, as a Jets organization, you got to just be sitting there with your mouth, your jaw on the floor, just going, wait, what? You're telling me we tried to trade up and we couldn't because the Colts wanted to stay on Bradley Chubb and nobody else wanted to move, and we just had to sit here and we still get Josh Rosen? That's crazy, man. That's awesome. Jets are going to love it. I mean, there would almost be no doubt. They need a lot of stuff, but I mean, Josh Rosen's there. They're really not going to take him. That would be awesome. Drayton had an easy choice. He was able to stay put and get an awesome pick, and good on him. Great pick. And an easy pick. With the seventh pick in the draft, we have another trade, and another trade I don't really like. But we got Michael with the Jaguars trading up with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and they are going to select Lamar Jackson, quarterback, Louisville. Now, let me tell you what I don't necessarily dislike. I don't necessarily dislike Lamar Jackson. A lot of people dislike him. I don't really get it. I think this last year in college, he was a pretty good thrower of the football. We know he's fast. His ability, his arm strength is incredible. You put him on a sort of a run pass, which, by the way, I'm so sick of hearing RPO. Tony Romo said RPO. Everybody said Tony Romo's great, and all the analysts go, you know what? Everybody must just love RPO. So then they just say RPO all day. You sound like an idiot. Stop saying RPO every 5 seconds. Anyways, run pass option would be a good offense, like the Eagles kind of thing with Lamar Jackson. Give him the opportunity to run or throw on just about every single play. You have a run set up, and you have passes set up, and he can run with his legs. I mean, if he can process that mentally and be able to make throw, I mean, it's a lethal thing. So I don't dislike Lamar. I don't dislike the. I don't really know the I'm not gonna lie and say I know the Jaguars' offense. I think it can work. They have good wide receivers. They have a good running back. You add the kind of it's going to help Leonard Fournette a lot if you got to worry about a quarterback and him possibly throwing and running and all this stuff. So I don't dislike any of that. Let me tell you what the trade was, though. Now, also, Tampa Bay trading back. Tampa Bay, Minka Fitzpatrick and Bradley Chubb are gone. I'm thinking maybe that's kind of part of it, right? A lot of these have Bradley Chubb going to Tampa Bay. All these guys are gone. So you can kind of understand maybe wanting to trade back. I don't know about trading back quite that far. From Tampa Bay's standpoint, is kind of iffy. The trade, though, was the Jaguars gave up a second and a third. That's BS, man. That's absolute BS. That's nowhere near enough at all. I mean, they should have given up a first-round pick at least to move up that far. Next year's first or something like that. But a second and a third just is not enough. Tampa Bay got raked over the coals. Do not hate the Jaguars or Michael for trying, but the GM for the Bucks should have just laughed in his face and said, "Get out of here. There's no way in the world I'm giving you that. I want at least another first-round draft pick and maybe more." But the Jaguars get a quarterback. Obviously, you have to love Lamar. If Roto World, I think, just came out. Some guy from Roto World, which I think is what NBC or whatever, came out and said they had Lamar Jackson as their number 2 quarterback, and basically just said what I just said. So if you look at it from that standpoint, if you have Lamar Jackson as a top 5 player, a quarterback that you think can help get you into the Super Bowl, right? Get you over that hump, real competitor. And the Jaguars are close. So, I mean, if you just have to give up a second and a third to move all the way up to 7 and get your quarterback of the future, Jaguars just knocked it right out of the park. Tampa Bay, that GM needs to be fired, but the Jaguars did something pretty spectacular right there. With the 8th overall pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, Clark and the Chicago Bears select Tremaine Edmonds, linebacker, Virginia Tech. I think a lot of people are going to dislike this pick, and I can't necessarily say I love it. I think it's a good value. I think he's kind of flying up the draft board, and probably for good reason. He's a good linebacker. I think NFL.com compared him to Brian Urlacher, so obviously him going to the Bears kind of has a cool thing to it. Um, Wide receiver, it just depends on your evaluation of it. I know some people are saying there's nobody worth the eighth pick, which is probably true. So if you can't trade back, you got to stay and take the best player. But the Bears have some decent linebackers, right? I mean, if you need pass rusher, you need maybe some help along the offensive line. I know you got some good guys, but you also have some very old and very expensive guys. Wide receiver, you need. It's hard to stay here at this early of a pick and take a linebacker. So I don't know. I'll let you decide on that one. I don't necessarily like it. Um, I don't know. It is what it is. You got some good linebackers, and now you got another good one. You got to figure out what to do with them. And you did not very much to upgrade your team, but I mean he's a good football player. So I don't know. It is what it's sort of the problem with best player available, and it's why I just refuse to believe that this is actually what teams would do. All right, we have linebackers. Let's take a linebacker at 8, where we have the opportunity to select elite football players. We're going to take a linebacker because he's just the highest on our board. I don't buy that that's a thing. With the ninth overall pick, we have our third BS trade. This is crazy, man. Mitchell and the Lions moved from 20 to 9. They gave up this year's third and a 2019 fourth to move from 20 to 9. So again, I don't hate the Lions because that's an absolute steal to move up that high. Anyways, Mitchell and the Lions select Quentin Nelson, guard out of Notre Dame. They gave up a third and a fourth to get Quentin Nelson. Again, no problem with what the Lions did. Raiders GM just needs to reevaluate his career choices. First of all, how about you take Quentin Nelson? Second of all, if you're going to trade out of this spot, which by the way, Bears, Quentin Nelson would have been a decent option. Again, I know you have guards, but for crying out loud. First of all, the guy can apparently play tackle. He can play pretty much anywhere along the offensive line. Second of all, you got two 40-year-old guards sucking up $400 million a year. I don't know. Whatever. So there's that. Raiders, man, I don't know. It is what it is, man. Hey, Facebook group mock draft. Yay. With the 10th overall pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, Brett and the 49ers select Derwin James, safety out of Florida State. I love Derwin. I got it. I don't know where he is on my. Let me check. Got my big board up here. He's up pretty high. He's ranked 7th overall on my big board. Pretty unanimous. I mean, it's weird because you get into these Facebook groups and these mock drafts, and Derwin's kind of like around, I don't know, kind of like where you got drafted here, right? And this might even be high, but man, you look at all the big boards around the league, and he, according to Pro Football Focus, if you care, this guy every year he played was the number one safety. As a true freshman, he was the top safety in all of college football. Then he had like an injury, comes back and plays again last year. Number one safety in college football. The guy, shut up. The guy looks like Sean Taylor. He plays like Sean Taylor. He's big, he's fast, he's strong. Top safety in all of college football. And he gets no respect in these mock drafts. So, 49ers, great football player you're adding to your team. I think we've actually had this exact problem before where the 49ers took a safety and everybody hated it because we already have safeties. I can't help you there. It's kind of similar to the Bears situation where best player available, don't really know what to do with them. I don't know. You'll figure it out, right? I don't know. Maybe some of these guys are contracts, maybe. Just let them go. Any of these guys too expensive? I don't know. You make it work, 49ers fans. I can't, but I'm just telling you I like Derwin James. That's all I can tell you. With the 11th overall pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the Miami Dolphins select Roquan Smith, linebacker out of Georgia. I like the pick. I think they could use him. I mean, this is... It feels good when there's just a good pick here. The only problem I just saw yesterday, and I threw it on the website, I think it was Tony Pauline said, he believes Roquan is very, very overrated. He believes Roquan will go quite a bit later than everybody expects. He believes Roquan will be end of the first, which makes me feel good because I've been saying that for a long time. I've watched Roquan, and I'm like, I don't really get it. I don't know what's so great about this guy. And oh, no, he's best linebacker to come out since forever. Ever since then, you got Tremaine Edmonds flying up the board, and Roquan just keeps falling. And finally, you got Pauline going, I don't know what's going on with this guy. He's kind of mid to late first round pick. So, again, I'm not a scout. I don't know much. I just watch people and go, he's good or he's not good. Sometimes there's nuance that I just can't see because that's not my deal. That's not what I do. But I never really understood the Roquan. Not that he's bad. I just don't understand the top 5, top 10 talk. The guy's, he's too small, man. And don't give me this, well, the defensive line's job is to keep him clean. BS, man. You're a linebacker and you're telling me that it's somebody else's fault that you got blocked off the play? Shut up, man. Make the play. Well, nobody's supposed to be touching me. Man, I don't want you on my team. Quit your crying. With the 12th overall pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, Damian and the Cincinnati Bengals select Josh Jackson, cornerback out of Iowa. I'll be honest, I'm not even going to touch this. I don't know anything about these cornerbacks. Nobody knows anything about these quarterbacks. Denzel's a freak. Denzel's the end of the first guy. Josh Jackson's a freak. Josh Jackson's not even a first-round draft pick. Man, I don't know. I'll be real excited because there's not between quarterbacks and cornerbacks, there's going to be so much trash talk available in this draft. It's going to be incredible. I'm going to do my best to kind of like keep track of what people are saying because it's just I can't. Is this a good cornerback class or a terrible cornerback? Same with offensive line too. It's, McGlinchey's the best in this class, except he's probably not even a left tackle. He's a right tackle. Orlando Brown's good. Man, I don't know. Again, I'm not touching it. I like him when I watch him. Is he worth a 12th overall pick? Is this guy Marshawn Lattimore? Is this guy, is he Marlon Humphrey good even? I don't know. Well, I guess we'll find out. I can't wrap my head around it because I thought it was a terrible cornerback class. Then it was a great cornerback class, but we don't know which ones are good and which ones suck. It's just very weird. I mean, if you're good, shouldn't we know that? There was no question about Marshawn Lattimore. If you have this many questions about whether or not Josh Jackson's even good, why are you taking him at 12? I'm not talking about Damian here. I'm just saying, if he's on your board, take him. But it should be a little more of a sure thing in my mind, and it's just definitely not. With the 13th overall pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, Peter and the Redskins select Daron Payne, defensive tackle, Alabama. This is another one, man. There's so many people. Daron Payne's overrated, and then you got another bunch of people. So, for example, I forget who it was. I think it was like Daniel Jeremiah or somebody said, the problem with Daron Payne is we don't know if he can rush the passer. And in the first round, this early, you need a guy that can rush the passer. You need three down players, and I don't think Daron Payne is that guy. And then you got a bunch of other people saying this guy is way underrated. He is a top 10 dude. He is a freak. So I don't know. I'll be excited to see what happens. But obviously Peter loves him. He's got him high on his board. He's got the Redskins taking him. And I like the fit with the Redskins. I just like... I don't know. I feel like I know. I say this every time. I feel like I know nothing about the Redskins. It's just one of those teams, man. I don't mean to be disrespectful, but there's some teams that are just kind of like, man, I never even think about you. I don't know why. It's not that they're just horrible because you think maybe it's because they're just like perfectly in the middle, right? I think about the Browns all the time because they suck. It's just I don't know what it is. Does that ever happen to you? Or it's just like, oh, maybe it's I don't know. I don't know what it is. I just like Redskins. Oh yeah, who do I know on that team? It used to be Cousins. Now Cousins is leaving. There's no relevance there, man. You got to get some relevance. You got to get you somebody better than Alex Smith because he is not a relevant person in my mind. I'm sorry to tell you. Maybe Daron Payne could be that guy. With the 14th overall pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, Brandon and the Green Bay Packers select Arden Key, edge rusher, LSU. I'm real up and down on this. I'm definitely of the opinion he's going to be a late first round pick. But I think the combine's going to be kind of huge. It's one of those things where everybody's scared of the red flags and scared of this or that. But he's the kind of guy that's just, he's built like a freakish, he's a Myles Garrett type guy. But it could also break him, right? There's people who are training him for the combine, allegedly. I say this in every mock draft. If it ends up not being true, I'm just a complete idiot peddling lies. But allegedly, the guys training him out at the combine training facility are saying this dude is not a very good athlete. He's nothing special. If that's the case, he's going to go to the combine. He's not going to blow away the numbers, and he's going to slip into the second round with all those red flags. The reason he is where he is because he's expected to be. Same with Davenport, right? I think he can be hurt more than he can be helped. But still, with that said, I think a lot of these scouts and guys that are watching Arden Key, if you see a guy that moves way faster and is way stronger than a guy that's usually his size, his height, his whatever, you're just going to fall in love with him. So we'll see what happens. I'm going to try to pull back a little bit until the combine and see what people are saying at that point, because he's one of those guys that everybody could just dump on now, and then the combine's over. Everybody says he's great, and I got 60 videos of me talking about how nobody likes Arden Key. You're an idiot if you think the Packers are going to take him. Very possible that this happens. Not my favorite pick at this point, but he has the upside and the potential to be the best pass rusher in this class, including Bradley Chubb. It's very unlikely, obviously, but a crazy amount of potential with Arden Key. With the 15th overall pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, Jordan and the Arizona Cardinals select Calvin Ridley, wide receiver, Alabama. I like the pick. I think the Cardinals need a good amount of things. I think it's a great value. I think Ridley is like number 9 on my big board, which most people say they're not worth it, but I'm just telling you what it is, man. According to, and I've got like over a dozen big boards that I aggregate, and they're not just some random blog. I mean, it's like I'm trying to find the most reputable sites, aggregate them together. Calvin Ridley's got a lot of respect. I think he's sitting at number 9 overall. So I think the Cardinals got a good player. I think they got a good position of need. I think they got somebody that can help out whoever their quarterback's going to be, which by the way is a dire need. But there's no quarterback here to say that they should have. Well, I don't know. I shouldn't say that. You know what? Probably a lot of people are going to be upset because of the quarterback that is available. Now, there is Josh Allen sitting there. Whatever. Calvin Ridley's a good football player. He's a good fit. He's a good value, and I'm going to leave it at that. With the 16th overall pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, Michael and the Ravens select Courtland Sutton, wide receiver, SMU. So I'm a little more down on Courtland because everybody else is a little more down on Courtland. Let me just check really quick. According to the master list of all master lists, Courtland Sutton is ranked 24th, which would make this quite a bit of a reach. But I'm assuming Michael, first of all, really likes Courtland Sutton, and there is some debate who is better. But the last time I heard there was some debate, and Courtland was probably the best of the group. I think it was that same Roto World article, actually. He also said that this wide receiver class is garbage, so I think he would hate both of these picks because he doesn't think they're worth this high of a pick. But it's sort of hard to miss with this. I think Courtland Sutton to the Ravens. I think the Ravens could use a guy like Courtland Sutton. So it's just one of those things. You can dump on it all you want, but it's either a good or bad pick based on how he plays. So I would just probably try to keep my mouth shut, because if he ends up being a go up and get it kind of free, he has trouble separating, but he wouldn't be the only one in the NFL that struggles to separate and makes big plays, right? Big end zone guy, a big go up and get it guy, right? If it's single coverage, you're in trouble because the quarterback's just going to launch it up to him and he's going to come down with it. So I don't love the pick, but it could end up being a really, really good pick. It's just one of those wait and see kind of things. With the 17th overall pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, Ryan and the Chargers select Connor Williams, tackle, Texas. So again, offensive lineman completely in flux. I'll tell you, according to my big board, Connor, McGlinchey, and Orlando Brown are like within 4 picks of each other. I think it's Connor and Orlando are like 17 and 18, and then 20 is McGlinchey. I'm pretty sure that's exactly how it weighs out. However, I think that's going to start to shift a lot. Pauline, yesterday or the day before, said McGlinchey is the clear number 1. He said Orlando is kind of like a middle-of-the-road guy, and there's a lot of negative. And I don't know how much stock you put in this, because he's out there polling, and I don't think he's polling the decision makers. He's polling the guys on the ground. And I've been here, basically the guys on the ground who are doing all the jibber jabber and talking, they don't even get to see the big board. So I could be wrong. He could be talking to GMs, but from what I understand, these guys are so tight-lipped. I mean, if you're not even going to tell your scouts, why would you tell Tony Pauline what your big board looks like? And that is what up until like 4 days before the draft, the scouts don't even get to see the big board. So a lot of this is just kind of BS. But still, if the scouts on the ground and they're the ones feeding the information to the GM, there is some value to it. And to have, excuse me, my throat is all messed up. To have these guys talking to someone like Pauline saying, look, Connor's just not that good. I don't know if he can play. He's going to be end of the first round kind of guy. Um, it tells me that over time Connor's probably going to start sliding down these big boards. But we'll see. As it stands on my big board, Connor Williams is a top guy. It's like a perfect value. This is exactly where I have him going. So it kind of works out that way. With the 18th overall pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the Seattle Seahawks select Mike McGlinchey, offensive tackle, Notre Dame. I love the pick. Seahawks need offensive line. Seahawks got maybe the best offensive tackle in the draft. Right tackle, left tackle, wherever you want to put him. I don't know. I mean, everyone's saying he can't play left tackle, but what if you don't even have one? I mean, is it possible you put him at left tackle? You put Dwayne Brown at right tackle? Is Dwayne Brown even coming back next? I mean, I don't even know. Dwayne Brown is very, very old. I don't know what his status is. But either way, whatever, right? Mike McGlinchey's a great pick for the Seattle Seahawks, and there's very little question about that unless you just absolutely hate Mike McGlinchey. I don't know how you could dislike this pick. With the 19th overall pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, Brian and the Cowboys select Vita Vea, defensive tackle, Washington. So I just don't know why. It's so funny because you can't even get a consensus in like the top 5 who guys are going to take, right? Even number 1 overall, there's no consensus whatsoever. You can't even decide on position, much less which player. But man, at 19, the Cowboys, they're getting Vita Vea, which, by the way, on my big board here, let's take a quick little look-see. Vita Vea is number 11 overall. So just a little heads up for Cowboys fans, man. I don't know if he's going to last quite this long. I don't know what it is. Why do they love Vita Vea so much? I mentioned this in the last video. I think it was Rob Marinelli refuses to take, not that it's his decision outright, but from what I hear, he's not into run stoppers in the first round, right? That's just not his style. That's not what he's into. He's into getting these guys a little later in the draft. But man, whatever it is, Cowboys fans are 100% sure Vita Vea is the guy. Whatever, man, I hope you guys get him. If you guys love him and you want him and he's available and he's a great value and he fits what you're trying to do over there, best of luck to you folks. I certainly wouldn't hate it. Vea is a freak show. With the 20th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, Ryan and the Raiders, who traded back a little bit, select Denzel Ward, cornerback out of Ohio State. Now, the cool thing about this for the Raiders, as much as I wanted to smack the guy around, Denzel Ward on my list is ranked number 10. So basically, the pick that they should have maybe taken at that time, maybe not, but a good pick would have been Denzel Ward. They trade way back. They collect not enough picks, but they get some picks, and they get Denzel. Now, again, I don't know. You make up your mind. Some people like him, some people hate him. But I'm just saying, according to this big board, which is according to NFL.com, Walter Football, all these big name guys, all the biggest and best, all the people. I even asked, who are the people you respect the most? And I put all their lists in there. We got some guys that haven't come out with them yet, and when they do, it's going in the list. According to all the people that you know and love and trust, Denzel Ward, number 10 overall in the draft. Raiders trade way back and still get Denzel Ward. I don't know if he's a dummy or a genius, but man, that worked out pretty well for him. So congratulations to Ryan and the Raiders. With the 21st pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, Bryson and the Bills select Josh Allen, quarterback out of Wyoming. So Josh Allen lovers are going to be screaming right now. Cardinals fans, very good chance they're screaming right now. But for the Bills to stay put and get Josh Allen, that's pretty cool. And looking at this, and I'll be honest, on the master big board, greatest big board in the world, Josh Allen is ranked 23rd on the list. So as much as everybody's saying everybody loves him, he's great, he is a freak, even though he doesn't play football all that well, he's really, really elite because he's big and he's strong. Right now, as it stands, he's ranked 23rd. So a good value. And it does point to the fact that maybe the Cardinals would trade on. I don't know. Maybe they would move on him. I don't know. Pass on him. You know what I'm saying. But either way, for the Bills to stay put and get Josh Allen here at 21, that's pretty awesome. I think if nothing else, we've established a floor. As much as even if you hate Josh Allen, I don't think he could slide past the Bills. I mean, obviously, if the Bills do something crazy like use both picks to trade way up, then we got a different scenario. But I tend to think that we're basically looking at his floor right here. With a 22nd pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, Bryson and the Bills are looking to double down with Maurice Hurst, defensive tackle out of Michigan. So this is another guy you either love or you hate, right? Pro Football Focus, number one guy in all of college football. Some people saying this guy is a freak. He's the next Aaron Donald, which is kind of interesting to me because again, I'm not a scout, so I'm kind of just sitting back trying to weigh the arguments as best as I can, right? What is this guy saying versus what is this guy saying? I'm having a hard time understanding why Maurice Hurst isn't better than people are saying. You know, all the arguments that he's undersized. I mean, Aaron Donald is undersized, right? Isn't that, how does that not, I don't want to say it doesn't compute, but for people that don't like him, what are we saying is the big difference here? One of the greatest players in the entire NFL is an undersized defensive tackle. You have maybe the best player in all of college football is an undersized defensive tackle, and everyone's like, he sucks because he's undersized. In terms of argumentation, just trying to weigh the arguments, I think that's a bad argument. So if you have something else, if it's just you're watching film, he's not getting it done, fine. But don't tell me he's just too small. That just seems silly to me. Anyways, bottom line, the two Bills picks, I think Bryson did a phenomenal job getting Josh Allen at 21, Maurice Hurst at 22. Bills need a quarterback. Bills need defensive line help. They got both of those things, and I think maybe luck played a part in this too. I mean, you're potentially getting an elite football player in late first round, and you're getting a top quarterback prospect late first round, and the only reason you're getting that is because they just fell into your lap, right? But it also kind of speaks to maybe why you don't trade up right away and just like this knee jerk, I just need to trade up and give away my entire draft to go up and get somebody because sometimes crazy stuff like this can happen. With the 23rd pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, David and the Rams select Billy Price, center/guard out of Ohio State. So as it stands, if the draft ended with round one, and we'll see how this goes later on in the draft, I'm saying he's playing guard because that's their biggest need. But we got to see what happens. There's a lot of guards out there, and that's one of the cool things about taking Billy Price. I said this in the last video. It's one of the cool things about taking him this early is that you have that flexibility. So if later on you get Frank Ragnow or whatever, then you've solidified this guy's playing guard. If later on I don't know, I don't want to pull a name out, but you get a guard that you think can start immediately or can start immediately, then you put him in at center. So that's one of the cool things about him. It might be a little early in my opinion, and you're starting to see guys like James Daniels kind of rise. Again, same Roto World article, but he's not the only one I've seen saying, Billy Price is good, but he's kind of a second round kind of guy. James Daniels just keeps flying. The way he's moving, his trajectory, I do think he's going to end up being a higher prospect. Is he going to get drafted higher? I don't know. And I think that center guard designation, that flexibility, which most of these guys probably have that kind of flexibility. I'm sure James Daniels could play guard if he needed to, but the fact that Billy Price is kind of like equally as good in each spot kind of adds to his value. So we'll see where they get drafted. I think overall this is a team that's very close, and when a team's very close and you need a guard or you need some offensive line help, I'm not as upset about reaching in those kinds of situations, and it's probably not that much of a reach. According to the Ultimate Big Board, he is ranked 29th overall, so it's a solid pick. With the 24th pick, we have our final trade of the evening, and we have the Browns trading back in, which I did that in my last mock draft, and I don't necessarily hate that. They have a ton of picks, and if you got somebody sitting there that you want, I could see them doing it. But here's how this shakes out. The Browns receive 24 and 183. The Panthers, who traded out, get pick 33, pick 64, and pick 119. Personally, I think the Panthers made out like bandits on this trade. I think it's a great trade for the Panthers. And sometimes when you trade up and you really want somebody, and if the Panthers want to sit still, they might make you pay kind of out the rear end, if you know what I'm talking about. So, in other words, I think it was an unfair trade. But I'm just making excuses for why that might be the case. If you really want somebody, sometimes you got to pay too much, and I think they maybe did pay a little bit too much. But whatever, it's fine. It's draft. It's not always perfect for that stupid trade value chart. That's just not how it works. The question is, who's the player? With the 24th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the Cleveland Browns select Marcus Davenport, edge rusher, UTSA. So now it kind of makes a little bit of sense, right? Um, I don't know what I think about Davenport. I think it's actually a good value according to the board. I know everyone's saying he's going to be a top 10, top 12, top 15 pick. Very possibly he is. I don't know why he is. I like him here a little more. I mean, I don't know how a developmental guy who played for a small school, who hasn't really shown very much against elite competition, right? He was kind of meh at the Pro Bowl, is a lock in the top 12, top 15. Why? Because he's 6'6"? I don't know. I don't get it. But if you're the Browns and you believe Marcus Davenport is a top 15 pick and he falls to 24, yeah, I'm probably going to pay a little too much for that spot too. He's an edge rusher. He's whatever, right? So it makes sense for a lot of reasons. This trade I actually do like. Carolina gave up a lot, but they have a lot, and they got a really good player. Carolina received a ton of value for this spot, so it made sense for both teams. I love it. With the 25th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, Dylan and the Titans select Will Hernandez, guard, out of UTEP. I don't love it. I don't hate it. I mean, I think it's a definite reach. I think Will Hernandez is an early. He's ranked 36 on the big board. He's a little bit early. It's a position that you can get later on, so there's really no reason to reach. It's not the biggest need, although you could probably upgrade either of those guard spots. I mean, you have serviceable guards, but it's kind of one of those things where they're good, but you could definitely do better. So, not my favorite pick, but are you really going to hate Will Hernandez when he starts playing and starts blocking like a monster that he is? I don't think you're going to hate it. Everybody's going to hate it when the pick is made, but when the dude starts playing and starts tearing up the NFL, nobody's going to remember that you reached like 10 spots too much. Nobody cares. With the 27th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the New Orleans Saints select Harold Landry, edge rusher, Boston College. So it hurts my heart because I love Harold Landry. If the Packers took him at 14, I'd be jumping up and down. However, if I'm staying true to my big board, which I need to, because again, I keep saying it, I'm not a scout. I'm okay saying that. There's a million guys that are studying film that are just, I'm not going to throw my hat in that ring. I have opinions. Again, I like him. I think he's good. I think he should be not this late. But I live and die by that, and it's not going to hurt my heart too much if he sucks because, you know what? I'm not a scout, so I don't really care if it doesn't really work out. But currently on my big board, he is ranked 30th. So pretty solid value here, especially when you consider it's a position, a premium position. I think the upside and potential of Harold Landry, I think he's an instant starter. Kind of the opposite of Davenport. You know, Davenport has all the measurables you want, but he's raw and there's a lot of questions. Harold Landry has none of the measurables you want, but the dude can start today, right? He's at 100%. He's ready to go. He's going to come out firing. With the 28th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, David and the Pittsburgh Steelers select Rashaan Evans, linebacker, Alabama. I think it's a little early, but I like him, so I'm not upset about it. Not crazy early. He's 32 on the big board. It's no different than this Hernandez stuff. And this is kind of end of the first, too, so there's a lot of questions about where people are on your big board. We're not really necessarily maybe talking about elite players, so you got a pile of people, right? There's kind of those maybe late first, early second-ish type of talents, so it's just a matter of what do we need. That's kind of more of the bigger question than is this guy a little bit better than this guy. Now, it's obviously debatable whether there's still some awesome talent out there, which according to my board and according to my opinion and according to the next pick, I think that there are some really good options still available. With the 29th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, Ethan and the Buccaneers, who traded way back, the guy that I wanted to throttle, select Darius Geis, running back out of LSU. Now, he's ranked number 13 on my big board. This guy, listen, he gets no love whatsoever. I do think he's absolutely underrated. I think if it wasn't for Saquon Barkley, Darius Geis would be the next big, right? There'd only be the one, but he would be the Leonard Fournette. He would be the whatever you want to call it, right? He'd be that guy. But right now, that guy is Saquon, and Darius is just kind of like, he's a first-ish, second-ish kind. No. He's ranked 13 overall. I have him as high as 9 on one of these big boards. I mean, and there's nobody that hates him, right? He's not ranked, 50th by anybody. And that's what drops some of these guys down, right? They're 12, 20, 14, 7, 60. That's kind of the difference. Some of these guys are just steady Eddie. Everybody likes them. It's just a matter of how much. So again, another guy that traded back that I thought, you dummy, but he trades back, and he lost a little bit of value, but Darius Geis, I mean, if he is 13th overall, he traded way back to 29, but he got a 13 value. I don't know. And obviously they could have stayed and got a better player, but they also picked up some picks there, so I really like that. Now, it's very likely in that scenario, we're using hindsight here, but I think at the time you're looking at it and going, yeah, you lucked out because Darius fell to you, but please don't ever do that again. With the 30th overall pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, Reagan and the Vikings select Orlando Brown, tackle, Oklahoma. So you got to love that pick. Regardless of what you think about the offensive lineman, when you get to the end of the first, whoever's available is probably going to be a really good pick. There's three guys, first round picks. Even if you dislike Orlando Brown, of the three, it's pretty unlikely that you think he's a second, third round guy, right? So at 30, an offensive line needy team, a very talented team that has a good quarterback, who has good wide receivers, incredible defense, a running back that's coming back. Now you get Orlando Brown to help shore up that offensive line. Again, Packers fan, NFC North fan, football fan is looking at this going, no, the Vikings are going to be so much better now. This sucks. But no, I think Reagan made a really good pick. Another guy that was able to just stay put, wait for his turn, and just take the best guy off the board, and it just happened to match up with the need. So, phenomenal pick. With the 31st overall pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the New England Patriots select Malik Jefferson, linebacker, Texas. So, I'm getting tired of saying it. Patriots do need linebacker help. Malik Jefferson, I really like a lot. Unfortunately, according to my big board, this is the first big swing and a miss of the entire draft. He is ranked 86th overall, which is to say he's a third-round prospect, according to my... And listen, I disagree with it. I think he's right in line, and this looks like they didn't put down a GM, so I'm guessing this was a group pick. According to me, he would be an early second-round guy, right? If he's one of those guys that if he falls all the way to the Packers in the second round and they take him, I'm doing jumping jacks or jumping. Why would I do jumping jacks? I'm such an idiot. Cartwheels or something, right? I don't know. I'm not doing it anyways. Jumping jacks. God, you're stupid. But, according to this big board, and this, again, this isn't my opinion, man. This is the best of the best putting their lists out there. Malik Jefferson is not that well respected. I don't know exactly what's going on. Again, this was a top 10 dude at one point. He just keeps falling. Right now, 86. That puts him at the third round. We'll have to see. It's a big need. Very physical, very talented football player. And of course, whenever the Patriots make a pick, you say it's a good pick, right? Because they're just a talented organization, right? It's anytime you have a team with a good GM, if they do something stupid, it's not stupid, it's genius, right? They see something nobody else can see, and everyone's going to react that way because that's just what happens. So if this happened, all of a sudden everybody would love Malik and say that the Patriots got a steal. If the Browns traded up and got him, everybody'd say he's an idiot. That's the stupidest thing ever, right? It just depends who's making the pick. Finally, your Super Bowl champion Eagles. Man, you guys must have been doing all kinds of jumping jacks out there when you won that Super Bowl. I saw you on the video out there in the streets. I didn't see a lot of jumping jacks, so it's weird. With the 32nd overall pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, Zach and the Super Bowl champion Eagles select Colton Miller, offensive tackle, UCLA. So Colton Miller's a second-round guy. He's a developmental type guy. I mean, this has been pretty solidified at this point, right? There's 3 first-round guys, and there's like three-ish, depending on what you think about Martinez Rankin and whatnot. But there's 3-ish, maybe 4 second-round offensive tackles. But you're talking about a guy that is sort of developmental. He's going to need a little work to get him ready. But you guys have Jason Peters and Lane Johnson, and I know these guys are expensive, and these guys, well, was it Jason Peters, I think, is kind of getting old and up there. Ideally, you can lock up Jason Peters for another year, and you've got this unbelievable tackle duo, and you take a year to get Colton Miller up to speed, and then you can let Jason Peters go. That's kind of ideal. I don't know if Colton Miller's ready to go.
But even if Jason Peters is walking out the door, you've got an emergency situation. I know Vaitai did some awesome stuff, but I think overall he's just not all that good. As much as Eagles, and you won the Super Bowl, so you can scream all you want. Oh, he's amazing, he's a freak, whatever. Okay, fine, he's great. But I think you understand that this draft pick is a necessity because whether it's this year, next year, or whatever, you're gonna need somebody to step in for Jason Peters, not named Halapalavati Vaitai, or however you say his name. So it's a reach, but when you're a Super Bowl champion, you're trying to sustain that. You're filling holes and trying to just stay elite. Um, you don't have to do that, and maybe that's the stupid way to do it. You should just take the best player and just kind of keep this train going. But I understand the pick. I'm fine with the pick. Colton Miller is a reach, but who cares, right? And we're talking about a left tackle. So this is, well, maybe he's going to be a left tackle. So it's a premium position, and you got to protect your quarterback. So I'm fine with it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very, very much. I appreciate you guys watching these videos. If you could, like and subscribe, join the Facebook group, and remember, NFLBigBoard.com. It's the only big board that matters in this universe. If you're using another one, you're doing it wrong. Talk to you guys later. We got second round coming out. I'm going to just try to do every other day. Getting a video up is kind of my goal. So we're going to try to get this rocking and rolling. We'll see how it goes. Have a great day. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.